for the last few years, there's been a struggle in the poultry sector. It's been a very expensive project to try and feed poultry, which also, of course, means that the cost of the final products, which is the hens, the layers, the eggs, and all of that, will be more expensive, right? And so the government is establishing a soya bean processing plant in the northern region to help process poultry feed. This is going to help in so many ways once it takes off. Let's take a look at this report. We'll come back. We'll get into some conversations around it.
Poultry farmers in the northern region have over the years been depending on external producers for feed for their birds. However, with the increasing cost of production leading to high cost of feed, the effect has been profound, with some farms folding up. Currently, the northern region produces huge tons of grains used for feed production. However, due to the absence of feed processing plants, the raw materials are transported to other regions for processing to be done and later brought back at higher prices.
The fact that we produce a lot of soya in the northern region here, if the machine is here or the plant is here to process it, definitely the price will go down for us. And when the prices of soya is down, then we then be thinking of the price of maize also coming down. And when that happens, look, we can produce for the ordinary Ghanaian to also be able to afford it.
For the past 5 years, the Savannah Zone Agricultural Productivity Improvement Project and CIP, in collaboration with the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, have been providing support for farmers in crop and livestock production. The project has so far supported over 200 commercial and smallholder farmers. In order to build on its successes, the SAPIP-CIP project has secured a grant of $28 million from the African Development Bank to replicate and upscale the SAPIP-CIP intervention under a new project. Here is the project coordinator, Felix Dramani, speaking on the Savannah Agricultural Value Chain Development Project.
They are very much related projects. As we speak, land development, SAPIP-CIP is done. We don't have resources. But this project is adding some more resources for more land development to be done. And that's why we said it is 8,000 hectares that is to be developed. 2,000 for rice, 3,000 for maize, and 3,000 for soya. 8,000 is just a drop in an ocean, but that is what is currently available. So we have to start with this. The successes will tell its own story, and further investment will come.
As part of the project, a soya bean processing plant will be constructed in the northern region to serve poultry farmers.
If you realize that soya is greatly produced here, why do you have to take it down there for them to process and bring it back for you to produce your poultry? So why don't we establish it here so that at least the raw material is very close. They can mop up, process, and support their own, support the poultry producers.
Completing that plan.
The soya plant, I think I should give in 2 years. I said 2 years because you have to get all the specifications. We have to identify a private sector person. This government has no business manning it. So the idea is to advertise, get the private sector interested. We get the specifications, we order it. We have to advertise, and with the projects, everything has to be competitive. We advertise in the papers, people bid to supply. Then we bring it, get it installed and operational. So in 2 years' time, we believe that it should be operational. And we've started working with our Agri Engineering Services Directorate, where they've given some specifications. But these specifications are just from the technical people. We need to engage the private sector who are interested in managing it to see whether the specs actually meet what their dreams are.
A chief agricultural policy economist with the African Development Bank, Philip Wahin, says the bank is committed to ensuring food security in Africa.
It's an apology to import food in excess of $50 billion annually when we have potential to grow our own food to eat. And so this is not even the last of it. There will be more similar investment to provide that additional support to government to ensure that we're able to feed ourselves. Our view is that Ghanaians should feed Ghanaians. Africans should feed Africans. And that is our commitment and objective.
All right. So big thank you to the ADB Bank for this investment. I think that there's several takeaways from this story. You said 2 years.
Yes,
it
in
should
2
be
years
up
it
and
should be
running.
ready.
I think that it's going to drive down the price for poultry feed, which means that it will drive down the price, or it should drive down the price at the end of the day for poultry itself, and then the eggs as well. You know, I see so many things that will be affected and improved. Talk about the economy of the North.
Yeah,
you know,
and it's going to employ more people. There
Yeah.
are people going to be working on,
Yeah.
you know, the plant.
Yeah, so we're going to talk to Theresa Finn, who is the monitoring and evaluation specialist with SAPIP. Theresa, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so talk to us about your hopes and aspirations with this investment that is coming in with the soya bean processing plant.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. The Ministry of Food and Agriculture has obtained a grant of $28.9 million from African Development Bank to implement a new project titled the Savannah Agricultural Value Chain Development Project. And this grant was given because we had recorded significant achievements through the implementation of two projects, the Savannah Zone Agricultural Productivity Improvement Project, as well as the Savannah Investment Program project. These two projects seek to support farmers to cultivate maize and soybean at a large scale, and then also to support commercial production of poultry. So far, we have helped farmers to develop 21,000 hectares of land, which has resulted in the cultivation of maize and soybean. We have achieved 22,000 metric tons of soybean and 63,000 metric tons of soybean.
Yeah.
So in summary, we have supported over 67,000 smallholder farmers, as well as 214 commercial farmers to cultivate a land site. So we have a commercial farmer who has about 2,000 hectares.
Okay.
And this has been demonstrated in the Northern Savannah Ecological Zone that it is possible for us to modernize agriculture, cultivate maize and soybean at large scale to meet the demand for human consumption as well as to drive the poultry industry.
Okay, Theresa, can you help us to understand something? Is the North specially suited to the growing of soya bean, or it's more of a poverty reduction intervention to focus on the northern region for a production of soya bean, or a combination of other factors?
Yeah, very, very much so. The soy, like I mentioned earlier on, it has been demonstrated. It is very possible. We have achieved results in terms of yield in the cultivation of maize and soybean, which, as I mentioned earlier on, is done at a large scale, and it is feeding as a raw material to also support the poultry industry. And so SADC is coming in and to do more.
Okay.
And SADC is coming in, and we are going to support a private sector to have installation of a soybean processing facility to produce soybean meal to help the poultry industry to grow. So very much so, as much as we are supporting, we have demonstrated that it is possible to grow soybean and maize. It is also gone a long way to support smallholder farmers, because these large-scale commercial farmers have in-growers and out-growers that they are supporting to do between 1 to 5 hectares. So as much as it is creating income, it is creating jobs for people here in the northern sector.
All right, fantastic. Now, in terms of impact on the final price of, let's say, a broiler or a layer bird in the shop in, say, Accra, or the price of eggs,
Yeah.
what sort of impact will this have?
Okay, sure. So for the previous projects, we supported women, 1,000 women, to do layer production, that is producing eggs to support the household nutrition and also to create alternative livelihoods for the woman.
Yeah.
This was basically focused on women and youth. And we all know how eggs, if you happen to travel around the stadium in Tamale, you see that we have tracks of eggs from Zidoma and some from even Ivory Coast weekly to supply eggs to this part of the country. And so this goes a long way for us to produce eggs here so that we are not over-dependent on bringing eggs from somewhere for households to consume. And as for the broiler production, yes, last year we did 200,000 broiler chicken and broiler guinea fowl here with our farmers. About 200 farmers were supported and they produced, and we even served meat processors in Accra, and they had supplies for supermarkets like the mall, the hoteliers like Airport View Hotel and what have you. So this is doable here in the north, and we have demonstrated with our previous projects and ongoing ones, and that is why we have obtained those grants to also implement the Savannah Agriculture Development Project, which is a new project being funded by African Development Bank. So poultry can do very well here. Broiler can do very much well here. We can produce in excess and even supply to the south, especially focusing on the guinea fowl.
Teresa, thank you very much for speaking to us. So that was Teresa Finn, who is a monitoring and evaluation specialist with SAPIP. Yeah, and I think it's good news.
I love it.
Good news
I'm
all
actually
around.
excited for them.
Yes, very, very exciting for that particular sector.
Yeah.
And listen, I love eggs.
Yes.
And I'm a chicken person, so I
So
mean, if I'm going to get chicken
anything-
for easier,
yeah.
for cheaper, you know, more chicken all around. Hey, I say kudos to
SAPIP,
those who are involved, to SAPIP, to SADEP, to
ADB.
the ADB
Yeah.
for this investment. We hear in 2 years it's going to be up and running. Hopefully, nothing stops that from happening, and we get going, and we have a. I think the ripple effect will be significant.
Well.
And we need to encourage this.
True.
The Philip Wahin of the ADB said that this is not the only intervention that they're going to be doing. So hopefully more of such things will happen.
come up, yeah.
I am particularly excited that it's happening up north because it will also impact the economy of the northern sector of Ghana, which is critical.
Yeah.
And of course the trickle effect will come down south. But
And also,
for me,
and
the
also
focus
help
on
create some employment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. All right, well, so that's a fantastic story there. I think we're pretty good with that. Yeah, all right.